Have you ever noticed that weird thing that happens when you're around your parents? You could be a CEO, a parent yourself, someone who manages a team and a mortgage. But the moment you walk into your childhood home, or even just get on the phone with them, something inside you just shrinks. Suddenly your voice gets a little higher. You feel this tension in your shoulders, and you find yourself second-guessing decisions you were confident about just 5 minutes ago. It's one of the most disorienting feelings, right? You're a capable, independent adult, yet you feel like a kid again. If this sounds familiar, I want you to know something really important. This isn't a sign that you're immature or that you haven't properly grown up. Psychology has a very clear explanation for this. What you're experiencing is an old survival system, a program that was installed in your brain a long time ago and simply never got switched off. It's an automatic response, a kind of psychological muscle memory. Today, we're going to unpack the 7 key reasons why this happens, why you feel small around your parents, and most importantly, understand that this feeling doesn't define who you are today. So the first and most fundamental reason is what we can call a fixed emotional hierarchy. In a lot of families, parents never really made the switch from seeing you as a child to seeing you as a fellow adult. You might have the degrees, the job, the family, but in their eyes, and in the dynamic of your relationship, you still operate on a lower rung of the ladder. Your feelings might be dismissed as overreactions. Your choices are constantly up for debate, and your personal boundaries are treated more like suggestions. When this happens, your nervous system just clicks into its old default setting. It's not because you don't trust yourself. It's because for the first 2 decades of your life, your safety and well-being literally depended on staying in line with their rules. Your body remembers that deep-seated need for approval far more vividly than your conscious mind. The second mechanism is something called conditional acceptance. Think back to your childhood. Was love and approval tied to your behavior? Maybe you were praised for being a good girl or a good boy, which usually meant being quiet, not causing trouble, getting good grades, and generally meeting expectations. If that was your reality, then as an adult, interacting with your parents triggers that same old pattern. A part of you becomes terrified of disappointing them, of starting a conflict, or of being seen as a problem. So, without even thinking about it, you slip back into that old version of yourself, the one that learned how to be agreeable to earn love. It's not a choice you're consciously making. It's an automatic, deeply ingrained reflex to secure your emotional footing. This brings us to the third very deep-seated element, a lack of symbolic separation. In a healthy developmental journey, a child slowly but surely weans themselves off their parents as the ultimate emotional authorities. They start to form their own values, trust their own judgment. But sometimes this separation gets blocked. Maybe it was through overprotection, constant control, or even emotional guilt tripping. If that separation never fully happened, then as an adult, you remain psychologically tethered to them. Their words carry an immense, almost magical weight. An offhand comment from your mom can feel like a devastating verdict on your life choices. It's not because what they're saying is necessarily true or wise, but because their voice was never demoted in your mind from ultimate truth to just an opinion. Number 4 is a powerful one: frozen anger and unspoken rebellion. Many adults who feel small around their parents are actually carrying a huge amount of unresolved anger and a deep desire to push back. But as a child, expressing that rebellion was probably unsafe. Speaking up might have led to punishment, the silent treatment, or watching a parent withdraw their love. So, what did you do? You learned to swallow your anger and convert it into compliance. That was the smart survival move. But that anger doesn't just vanish into thin air. In adulthood, it's still there, simmering under the surface. But instead of fueling your strength and helping you stand your ground, it works against you, undermining your confidence from within. You feel small because you're disconnected from your own power, a power that was forced into hiding long ago. The fifth mechanism is the experience of being constantly evaluated instead of being met as a person. If your interactions with your parents are still laced with judgment, even if it's subtle, your body goes into defense mode. It's like you're perpetually taking an exam you can never quite pass. Notice what happens. Your voice might change, your posture might shrink, and your mind starts scrambling to find the right thing to say. This isn't you being overly sensitive. It's the logical, biological result of spending years in a relationship where who you were was treated as a project to be corrected, rather than a person to be known and understood. Your nervous system is simply bracing for the criticism it has learned to expect. Now for number 6, which might sound a bit paradoxical: loyalty to an old version of yourself. Staying small around your parents can be a subconscious way of keeping the family system stable. Think about it. If you were to show up in your full, authentic, grown-up self with all your new beliefs, boundaries, and autonomy, it would force the relationship to change. And for many family systems, change feels like a threat. It's unfamiliar and scary, both for you and for them. So, a part of your psyche might choose the path of least resistance. It defaults to the smaller, more familiar, predictable role you've always played. This isn't weakness. It's a testament to your deep-seated need for belonging. You're paying the price of that belonging by shrinking yourself down. And finally, the 7th mechanism is simply a lack of experience in being treated as an equal. If your parents have never truly seen you as a separate autonomous individual with your own valid inner world and the right to be different, then your nervous system has no script for how to act as an equal in their presence. The relationship software never got an update. It's stuck on version 1.0 from your childhood. So when you step back into that dynamic, you contort yourself to fit into an old mold, a shape that you outgrew a long time ago. It feels awkward and uncomfortable because it is. You're trying to wear clothes that are several sizes too small. So after hearing all of this, what's the big takeaway? The most important truth is this: that feeling of being small around your parents does not tell the truth about who you are today. It tells the story of who you had to be to survive and navigate that relationship back then. It's a bodily echo from the past, not a reflection of your current capabilities. And here's the tricky part: you can't just think your way out of it. Understanding it intellectually is the first step. But the feeling won't disappear just because you know you're an adult. It begins to fade, slowly but surely, only when you start to consciously break the pattern. When you stop playing the old role, even if it feels terrifying, even if it brings up guilt or resistance from them. It starts when you allow yourself, little by little, to take up the space you've rightfully earned.